And so I want to thank everyone who is who's joined us today for our monthly Digital Promise Adult Learning webinar. Today we will be hearing about smartphones meeting adult education, and we have some great speakers. We have a whole slate of people to talk with you today, and so I want to not give too much introduction, but I will say, as we're going through, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. I'll be monitoring that, and I will then let our presenters know to pause and respond to those questions. There will be time at the end, we hope, but we have found that questions during the webinar work best. So our first speaker will be Vinod Lobo, who is the founder and CEO of Learning Upgrade, which publishes online courses and smartphone apps to teach English reading and math through songs, videos, and games. In 1998, he brought together educators, musicians, artists, and programmers to produce innovative, engaging lessons designed to support struggling students in reading and math. His team has produced over 1,000 lessons and helped over 1 million students find a new path to learning success. We also have with us today three adult education teachers. First, we have Mary Murphy Claggett, and she is the teacher on special assignment for the Sweetwater Union High School District Division of Adult Education. She oversees the English as a Second Language program, all assessments for the WIOA grant, citizenship, and distance learning. Lisa Wilson Sharman is a multi-level ESL instructor for Sweetwater Union High School District, again, the Division of Adult Education. Her students range from levels 1 to 4, and she has been using Learning Upgrade with her students since October of 2016. And finally, Kevin Leonard is a teacher at Montgomery Adult School. Kevin also provides the IT support for fellow teachers using Learning Upgrade, assisting with student registration, passwords, troubleshooting, and verifying student progress. So let me do a quick look. Hopefully Kevin will be able to join us. I don't see him right now, but hopefully he'll be there. So our webinar will move from Vinod showing the app, and then we will move into using it in the classroom and best practices and how it affects students, because we also do have two adult student users who, I don't know, Mary, if you want to quickly introduce their names, that would be great.
I'll let Lisa introduce her students.
Okay, Lisa.
This is Maria Gutierrez, and this is Abria Parra, and they are in my multi-level class. They are both.
Okay, great. And we're getting a little bit of an echo because I'm not muted, so we just want to make sure that we all mute. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Vinod.
Okay, great. My name is Vinod from Learning Upgrade. And what I want to do first is introduce the Learning Upgrade app, which we just finished in September. And literally within days of finishing, Sweetwater instructors started using it with learners. So it's been quite an adventure. Just 4 months, we have over 500 learners there on our app. And so today what I want to do is introduce this story. It's basically app meets class, and how our two organizations have collaborated to make this happen. So what is the background? Adult learners love their smartphones. 80%, and that keeps climbing, of adult learners have smartphones. And 1/3 of them are really mobile only. That means their smartphone is the only way that they can access the internet. They have a lot of phone skills. They need phone skills such as WhatsApp to keep in touch with relatives, texting for work. And they tend to make sure their phones are working. The phone is super important, so the phone will always be working, will always be with them. And so because of this, what we've realized is that there is an opportunity. I've been working with adult ed for a long time, and one of the most frustrating things is how little time learners have on computers, because they have very little time at the adult school. They tend not to have computers, let's say, at home. They have to go to the library, and the time on task is very limited. But they have lots of free time where they're waiting on the bus, in the car, with kids at school, sports, doctor's office, dentist's office. And every minute with a phone next to you while you're waiting for something is a learning opportunity. The key, though, is, adult ed needs an app, to engage learners. And what does that app have to have? It has to comprehensively cover English and math, and it has to move the needle. This is important. You can't just be fun, but there has to be actually a potential for a breakthrough, for scores to go up, and for learners to actually become proficient in reading, speaking, listening, math. It has to be fun because they have to do this for hours and weeks and months in order to make a breakthrough. Well, the Barbara Bush Foundation and the X Prize Foundation realized this, and they got together and created an Adult Literacy X Prize. This is a whole bunch of teams around the world working to create an app that will allow learners on their own phones to make this big literacy breakthrough. And we're one of the teams in that competition. The deadline is March 9th, but guess what? We finished way back in September. We were surprised, and because of that, we approached Sweetwater and other adult schools and said, hey, you want to start trying this out? And that's where all this came from. What is this app all about? It's 300 lessons that cover everything from phonics and phonemic awareness to reading, to writing, to grammar, spelling, listening, comprehension. This works on whatever phones an adult may have, including Android phones that are prepaid, the Android phones that a learner would have with them. And it contains music. It's got video and games and awards. It's fun. And they're always learning. So they're learning in class, they're learning at home, they're learning on the bus, wherever they are. And the instructor is tracking. So every time a learner finishes a lesson, the instructor has it on their reports. They can motivate the student. So what I want to do, I want to play just a little bit of one of our lessons so that you get an idea of kind of what these lessons are all about. This is one of the 300 lessons in our program. This is multisyllable decoding.
When you see a long word, break it up into pieces, sound out each piece, and put those sounds together. Basketball, basketball, basketball. There you go. Now, moving right along now. Restaurant, restaurant, restaurant. Ooh-wee. Now, over to the next.
It's listening time. Listen carefully to this word and choose it from the 4-word choices. Press the speaker button to hear it again. Disobey. Disobey. Discover. Discover. No, the correct word is disobey. Disobey. How about this word? Celebrate. 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 That's it.
Okay, so what you just saw is a little clip of one of the lessons in Learning Upgrade. The lessons follow a certain format, which is first we teach with usually a song and a video that keep the learner engaged. And then we have an exercise where they're dragging and dropping and answering questions and creating things and doing multi-step problems. And they have to demonstrate mastery. So what you're looking at here is a map. And the learners, I'm sure they could tell you that these maps are part of their lives. They want to get from level 1 to lesson 60, and they have to do them in order, and they have to get a certain score, above 75%, to move on. And the reason we designed our lessons this way is they're small chunks of learning. What does that mean? That means that each lesson is 5 or 10 minutes. So it means if they're on the bus or if they're waiting for a child to get out of school, they can grab a lesson, they can do a lesson in bed right before they go to sleep. Small chunks of learning in order to get a certificate and move on. And this screen, when you first log in, is all of the 5 courses in English and all of our math courses. So a learner may start on the first course, and it has 60 lessons, and it may take a full 20 to 30 hours to finish those 60 lessons. But we want them to see the whole picture. So I remember when we met Abril, I remember her telling me she wants to get all the way to 5. So right away at the beginning, when you start on 1, you need a mental visualization of where you want to go, of your ultimate goal. So even if a learner is just starting out, you want them to see them all the way through proficiency. You want them to have a mental image so they have a goal and they're already thinking about it and talking about it, and they want to get all the way through. Okay. So what I want to do is, I want to turn this over to Mary to introduce the short video we're going to show of Lisa's classroom, which was the first class to implement our program. So Mary, you can introduce this and then we'll play a little bit of the video.
And Vinod, let me just jump in. Mary and Lisa, Kevin is also on the line now, so in the discussion we have him too, which is great.
Fantastic. Welcome, Kevin. We were very fortunate to have Vinod come to one of our off-site classes that is taught by Lisa Wilson-Sharman, and he was able to make this video with the students learning about the app and the excitement that was there. So with nothing more to be said, let's watch the video.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, my name is Lisa Sharman, and I am an ESL instructor for Sweetwater Adult Education in Chula Vista, California. I teach at an elementary campus parents of students that attend the elementary school. So after attending the Learning Upgrade workshop, I quickly went back to class and shared what this app that I really liked and enjoyed when I went to the in-service. I asked the students to, if they had a smartphone, to get their phone out and download the app from the store, and it's free, so they were very excited about that. And the lessons are high interest lessons that have songs and music videos. They went home, and in the next few days, they were hooked and very excited about this program. So much so that when I would log in to check the reports on my students, they were logging hours like crazy.
I am Abril Parra, and using Learning Upgrade. Sometimes I use it while wait for my doctor's appointment, my dentist appointment, and sometimes I use it in the evening when my child are working in his homework. And basically I'm right now in the 51 exercise, and I really like it. I think it helps you a lot. For me, it helps me for the nouns, because I was kind of having trouble with that, and I think it's very helpful. So yeah, it's right here. It's the login, and I just put my password. It's really easy. It's really short. Just log in and just press right there. The level that you're in, right here.
Look at this passage.
I'm using in other place with the same bus. I'm learning, I'm studying the bus. For me, it's very practical because I don't need books, I don't need pencil, and only my phone, and I'm studying. It's very, very practical for me.
El programa de Learning Up es muy bueno para mí. Siento que estoy aprendiendo mucho. Me gusta porque es muy fácil de estudiar. Lo estudio como voy mucho al doctor con mi niño. Estudio mucho en el espacio de que él está con el doctor, o cuando vengo en el bus, vengo estudiando, es fácil de entrar, lo traigo en mi teléfono. La música y los sonidos son muy buenos. A mí me gusta mucho porque te motiva a seguir y estás, o sea, moviéndote, pero a la vez estás aprendiendo y escuchando, aprendiendo y moviéndote. O sea, es muy bueno.
Everybody must leave now. The pronoun everybody takes the place of the noun. Class. Pronouns take the place of nouns. Oh yeah!
Which is the pronoun here?
Let's read this sentence. Ella. Abril, which is the pronoun? Her. Very good.
Oh, yeah!
Okay, that was a little taste of the video that we filmed a couple months ago, right after introducing the program. I think that was 4 weeks after introducing the program. I'm going to turn it over to Mary, Lisa, and the two learners, and let them talk about how the program was introduced on day one and how it was tracked and all the experiences. And I'll stop sharing so we can see them full screen.
Okay. So I went back to my class and we all got our phones out. Now at the beginning, I want to share that there were probably a handful of students that did not have a smartphone to use the app, which was not a problem because I then started using Learning Upgrade as a warm-up. And I want to say that now every student in my class has a smartphone, and they made it happen somehow, but they all wanted to be able to have access to this Learning Upgrade app. They were that excited. It was very easy to get the students, once they went into the store, they downloaded the app, and I had already entered my class into the app, and it was very simple. It generates a username and a password for each student. So I just cut those out and they glued them into their notebooks so we don't have any issues with, I can't remember my username or my password. It has not been a problem at all. And everybody logged in. I let them have time to just explore on their phones. And again, I was using it as a warm-up at the beginning of class. Students came back after logging so many hours, and they just told me how excited they were, how much fun, and it was engaging, and it just really took off, and I was very pleased. It was wonderful to have students come back in and say, I just did a lesson on conjunctions, and yesterday you taught us about conjunctions. So the connections are wonderful. I can clearly see that they're working at home, they're learning, and as you mentioned, there's lots of opportunities outside the classroom for them to be in control of their learning and having multiple opportunities to practice on their own. It's had some, Maria here has completed all 5 courses, which is amazing. She's a really hard worker and enjoys it, and we'll let her speak about that. And Abril is working very hard at it as well. And when new students join my class, the first thing they ask is, how do I get this Learning Upgrade app? Because I see the other students on their phone before class. And my students are wonderful. They're really great at it now. So I just say, okay, they'll show you how to get the app, and then I'll get you a password. And by the end of the day, before they leave my class, they have their username and password, and they're ready to go. Do you want to share your experience?
When I start learning Upgrade, I am an insecure insecure. So when I start after the learning upgrade, I'm much better my English. So when I go to the doctor appointment, she asked me, "You need a translate now?" But I said no. I don't need translate. I understand. I can speak fluid my English, but I understand. So she smiled and said, "Oh wow, this you don't need more translate now." No, I said no, I don't need more because when the teacher you teach in the school something verbs or the something class the teacher said, so I learn and I go to learning upgrade and I study and study and study and study. I repeat the same level or and study this lesson or different lesson when the teacher teaches in the school. So for me, this program is the best program for me. I don't know the other people, but for me, it's the best program because you learn, you speak much better. You ¿cómo se dice? Writing, you writing, you learn much better. So it's for me, it's the best app because I learn better with this app and of course with my teacher because she's very patient. This is true. Very, very patient with us. So, but the program is this campaign. So, cuando está junto, va junto. So it's
together.
Yes, the teacher and the program is together is the best form to you learn much better. So you I don't know how to say this together the program and the school and the teacher is the best combination. Yes. So for me this is the best and I need more levels.
And Maria has shared with me the other day that she feels because she spends a lot of outside class time studying and using the learning upgrade, she really feels that her confidence has grown greatly. She said she was very shy and timid, which many language learners come in very quiet and nervous, and we have lots of people talking now. So I was happy to hear that has boosted her confidence, which she hopes spreads to her children. And this is Abril. Would you like to share just a little something?
Well, learning upgrade is for me it's helpful because it helps me to read. And also, right now, it's helping me with my kid. He's getting trouble with reading. And yesterday in the night, for example, we were reading a passage, and he was going with me. So I don't know, it's amazing, you know, to see also my kid watching me doing this. And he asked me all the time, "Mommy, you're gonna do your homework?" Because for them, this is my homework. And you know, I think it's really helpful. Like I said before, it's really helpful. And that's it. I don't know.
And Abril is not the only student who has shared with me that they've worked on lessons with their child at home. And so that's a great way to have a family activity at night and to reinforce and practice their English. So
it's very important with learn with your child or your family, because my husband going to the school, adult school too. So he is in the level six intermediate, six intermediate. So he when he come the house, I ask how do you learn today? So he told me, oh, I learned this and this. Oh, my teacher teach this or this. Or it's important to learn English with together with your daughter, your husband, and es one es otra cosa.
One more thing.
One more thing that why this app is good for me. It's
great,
amazing.
And also because it has like a little button.
A little bit louder.
And also because it has the button that you can press and the reader can read and you can hear the pronunciation.
Yes.
So it models the reading and pronunciation for you,
yes.
which is very
That's
important.
really very important.
Yes, yes.
Because sometimes I read, but I'm not saying the right
correctly. It's a good model.
Lisa, let me jump in. We have a question, and maybe Kevin, if you want to respond to this, one of you, about, so this is great to hear how powerful it is outside the classroom as well and with your family. That's wonderful. Can you talk more about how you integrate into your class time this app? We saw in the video you were using it in class, so how do you do that, knowing that you learners are also using it outside of class?
Oh, I thought she said Kevin was talking.
Well,
Kevin. Students, I'll start first. My students will sometimes come back to class the next day, and they will share maybe a lesson that they had trouble on, and I will, because it's anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, I will just quickly put that up on the board on our projector, and we will go over the lesson together. If it's something that we're working on in class that connects to a lesson, I'll use it in class for that. And all students are always willing and eager to see one of the lessons, because it's a great way to kind of get the class motivated, energized with the music, the video. So that's how I kind of allow students to also help me decide when to use it.
Great, thanks. And Kevin, I have you unmuted now. I'm sorry. I think that you were trying to share. So.
Okay, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. We have 2 teachers here at Montgomery Adult School so far who are using the program. All of their students are on a beginner's level. One of the teachers teaches at night, and his class has just embraced it. And as far as integration with the program, we have a distance learning lab here where we have 60 computers. So what he'll do is at least 2 times a week, because he teaches 4 evenings a week, he'll bring his class in here for an hour at a time so they can continue to use the program and be more comfortable with it and embrace it more. And he has several students that have finished the first level, 2 levels, and they just want more. We have another teacher here in the morning whose class is also on a beginner's level, a large class. He has over 30 students, and I've been mentoring him. He's a little more comfortable with the program now. They had some problems in the beginning on their phones, and I helped them out a lot. And if they continue to have problems, of course, they can come here into the lab. But, we have the resources here to help them if they need to come in and use our computers as part of class time if they're having problems with their phones. But that teacher also has several students. I'm looking at the student monitor right now who have finished level E1, and he has some students on level A who have nothing but gold on their program, and they went all the way up to number 60. So there are a lot of students here doing very well. And the teachers will make time for the students to come in and use the lab as well. And that allows the teacher to work on other things also. If he wants to work with a few students at a time, some of the students can come here, use their learning upgrade, and then I can help them with that. I can monitor the teachers here. So I have that capability. Vinod has given me that access.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. And maybe Vinod, this is something you can talk about, or Kevin or Lisa or Mary, but as you are moving to use this app more, can you talk about, obviously the teachers we have here are excited about it, but how teachers respond and the kind of support, Vinod, you offer for professional development, for moving classrooms in this direction using this app?
Well, I can speak some to that. Vinod has been exceptional in providing support with phone calls, with coming and training. And at first, many of our teachers were hesitant in using it after they saw it. And for a number of reasons, but I asked them to just go back in the classroom and give it a try and introduce it to the students and let the students decide. And always there's been success with that. Once they introduce it to the students' excitement about the program energizes the teachers to use it more if there is any hesitation. Besides Vinod, we're very fortunate in our division to have Kevin, who is a mentor and assisting teachers who are somewhat hesitant to use technology because of their own fears. And to have Lisa, who is so good with technology and embraces it herself, I believe it allows the students to be more confident in giving it a try as well. So it's one leading the other, which is almost a snowball effect now, where I'll be walking in one of our schools and I'll have a student come up and say, learning upgrade, and I know immediately that they're looking to have that given to their teacher.
And can I just say something real quick? Mary, we have another teacher here, Lisa James. I'm going to be training her this Friday. She wants to get her class started on that also, to supplement what they're learning in the classroom. So I know we have those extra licenses Vinod gave us, so we're going to start using some of those.
Fantastic.
That's wonderful. So Vinod, you had mentioned that this app, moving the needle on language learning, can any of you talk about, I'm not sure if it's CASAS or what test you use at Sweetwater, but have we had any students take the test and move on? Do we have data in that way, or can you just talk about the impact you're seeing on their language learning? Obviously, we have wonderful examples sitting right here with us too.
I can talk a little bit about that. Basically, at Sweetwater, we've had a lot of success in various ways. One is usage, and the other is actual gains. So in usage, our first certificate, a certificate means a learner has finished 60 lessons, all above 75%, and earned a bronze certificate. Then they go back and review, and they ultimately get a gold certificate, which means above 95% on all 60 lessons. Well, within the 4 weeks, we got our first certificate. Now we have so many, you can't even count how many certificates we have. We're seeing a pace of 2 to 4 lessons a day. This is unheard of. When we used to use the computer labs and things in adult schools, you saw maybe 2 to 4 lessons a week if you were lucky. Now we're seeing 2 to 4 a day, 2 to 6 hours a week, and some learners are finishing 2, 3, 4, 5 courses in 3 months, and that's what you would expect maybe in 1 year. So the other thing we're seeing is we're starting to get early results from gains. So we just did an analysis of Lisa's class. They did a CASAS test. The CASAS is the test that Sweetwater is using with ESL students, and it's called a life and work reading test and listening test. And for those of you in the know, it's the Series 80 and 180 tests. And we found out something interesting, which is that in just 10 weeks of use, the combination of fantastic teacher, which is Lisa, and our app being used a lot at home. Some learners even hit 60 to 80 hours of use just in 10 weeks. We're seeing an average CASAS growth of 4.5 points. And some of the learners were at 16 points or 14-point gains. Just to give you an idea, a 10-point CASAS gain is one functional level. You know, so it's going from early intermediate to intermediate or intermediate to advanced. We also saw a few students at Sweetwater actually test out of ESL. Mary can talk more about that, but meaning that they maxed out the CASAS. They're now considered ABE students. So that was wonderful to see. I mean, these are obviously very early indications. It's only 10 weeks. And it's going to take longer. But this was our goal. I think you may not know this, but the Adult Literacy X Prize, the minimum your adult learners can average is 10 points gain on the CASAS to win the X Prize in 1 year of usage. So we're really curious to see how the Sweetwater learners do, you know, over the longer period. But early indications from CASAS and from usage have been pretty exciting, really.
That's great, Vinod. And Mary, if you want to follow up with anything there, and then there are some questions that I'll turn to in the chat, but we'll see if you have any more comments on this topic first.
Yes, we've been very amazed at how much this has helped with the CASAS, and we, as a resource teacher, I did not go into this as thinking this would help with CASAS gains, but that it would assist students in learning English. And it's nice to see that it is transferring over into our assessment that is used by the federal government to decide whether we are a successful school or not. I noticed there was a question about e-testing, and we are getting data now. The one situation that we have here at Sweetwater and with Lisa's class, our off-site classes, do not have access to taking CASAS tests online. So our off-site classes are using the reading theory test, if anyone's familiar with that. And our on-site classes are using the listening test. The two teachers that Mr. Leonard is working with, we will be looking at those test scores as the students do the post-test to see gains in that area as well. To test out of ESL, CASAS uses the number 235 in reading to say that a student basically has a reading level above an ESL student. And in our listening test with CASAS, it's a 228. We haven't, again, we haven't looked at the data in the two courses that Mr. Leonard is helping with to see that gain, but we're expecting as much of a gain as we've seen in the reading test.
Yeah, that's great, Mary. Thank you. This isn't a question, but somebody I wanted to share, as somebody has asked if you all have considered presenting at the upcoming CCAE State Conference in Long Beach. So if not, I think you have some backers. There is a question here about, is there an option for an independent adult learner to use this app, or is it strictly an element of a blended course held in an adult ed offered by a school system?
I can talk about that a little bit. There's sort of three models that we see going forward with adult learners. One is what you've just seen, which is an adult education, adult school, which has a teacher, a wonderful teacher like Lisa, to guide this whole thing. That's clearly the best situation, but not all adult learners have access to this. The second model is nonprofit literacy programs. For example, we're working with Read San Diego, the San Diego Public Library. Those are volunteer-based. They don't have a trained instructor. They're not as formal, but we're working on those. And then the third is what this question is all about, which is, can an adult learner who's not involved in any program at all just go to the App Store and download the program and use it on their own? This is what we're working on really quite heavily right now. We're trying to add a subscription to the app so that an adult learner, for example, could come on and spend a few dollars a month on a subscription and be able to use the program. And then we'd like to ultimately, of course, get a funding source so that we can make that free nationwide. That's our dream. And hopefully some of those institutions might be listening. Please call me. I want this to be free for everyone. But one thing I noticed, Abril can probably talk about this, when we interviewed Abril and the 4 other ladies who are learners, you know what they all were asking me? They were saying, how about my sister? How about my cousin? How about my child? How about my uncle? So, you know, only about 1.5 million out of the 38 million adults in this country who are low literate go to a program like Sweetwater, right? What about the other, 36 million? And that's why this X Prize was founded, because we have to reach everyone, and apps give us a way to do it. Of course, people like me, publishers, we have to be funded for it. And so our model is either we have to charge by the month, and a lot of adult learners have told us that'd be fine, and they want to be invested in it. But the other model is if we can offer it free, and sort of a foundation or a corporation to fund it. But the answer to the question is yes. We want to make this so that any adult learner can install the app, hit a button, do a free trial, and then buy a subscription. That's what we're working on right now, and it'll take a little bit of time.
Okay, thank you, Vinod. Our next question is, because people were looking as you were showing the app, that we've noticed there's a math component on the app. Can you talk about that, about using the math? I know the teachers here are ESL teachers. Maybe Vinod, you could talk about the math section of the app. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
Let me share my screen real quick, okay? What we have right now in the app is the 5 English courses, which have 300 lessons. What we're feverishly adding, literally as we speak, it seems like we're working 24 hours a day lately, is the math, because there's 600 math lessons that start at kindergarten and go all the way to algebra. So what you see on your screen is K, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 8, and then algebra. Obviously, this will be a huge help for our learners who want to go through ABE and then get a GED and then take technical classes. We already have learners at Sweetwater using computers with these lessons. We just don't have it available yet in the app. And to all the people desperately waiting for that, little bit of patience. I think by summer we'll have most of these. By fall we'll have all of them. And then, of course, we had Maria saying she wants more of the English because she's at 5 and she's done. So you can see there's a hole on the screen after 5. So we have a lot of work ahead, but we're just happy that, that at least this is all started.
Okay, great. If there are any other questions, feel free to put them into the chat. And then in the meantime, if Mary, Lisa, or students, or Kevin, if you have more thoughts that we haven't covered to share about, how to use this in a classroom, the ups and downs of using it, that would be great to hear.
Yes, I like to say something. I think the reason a lot of the students here have embraced the program is because it's so easy to use. Even for the teachers, I'm involved with several different types of programs for what I do here on a daily basis, and some of the programs I use are very cumbersome. This is an easy program for the teacher to use to enroll students. I was showing one of the math teachers last week how to use the program and what's available for him. And even the students, for instance, evidenced by the two students sitting there with Mary and Lisa. They said they just have to type in their username, their password, and they're ready to go. So I think we always like to use programs and technology that's user-friendly, and this is definitely one of those areas. And on the math, I'm looking at the math. One of our math teacher tonight has enrolled some of his students. The math, I see all the ways up to algebra upgrade. One of his students is using that program. So there's exponents, there's trinomial factors, there's parallel, perpendicular. So there's a lot on the math side also.
I was going to share the student monitoring page, which I saw the slide was just up there. It is so nice to be able to, at home, quickly get on the computer and look at what students are having trouble with. You can see the red squares. That shows that they had great difficulty. The other thing is I can see real time who has been on that day. It'll have a green arrow on the lessons that the students worked on or are currently working on as I'm on there checking. So I can go back the next day, and if somebody's having trouble with the lesson, maybe at the end of class, we can sit down and we can do the lesson together, and I can offer support to them. And so I have a communication with them the next day. I saw, and I would name out the students that I saw were working on it, and it motivates other students to, I'm going to be on it tonight. Are you checking tonight? So it's interesting that can also motivate the students just keeping a regular check on their progress. But it also allows me to know where they're having trouble or difficulty, and I can work with them one-on-one at the start of class or at the end of class as well. So I find it very valuable, or who's not using it and finding out why. Maybe they have a problem with the phone or the internet, or, you know, so it's telling being able to look at that student monitor.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lisa. Any other thoughts, Mary or Lisa or Kevin or Vinod? We did have a question about desktop versus app. Maybe Kevin or Vinod, you could talk about that just for a minute to clarify the different versions.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So basically, our program is neutral or agnostic, you could say, as to where someone uses it. For example, a learner like Maria or Abril could use a computer in a classroom lab to do 3 lessons, then go home and get on an Android phone and do 4 lessons, and then go somewhere and someone has an iPad and do another 3 lessons. And this is what happens, is a mix. So there's things being done on computer, things being done on iPhones or iPads, things being done on Android phones. It doesn't matter. That's the bottom line. It really doesn't matter. For example, there's students starting on math now on computers, and as soon as our app is ready, they'll be jumping on their phones. So I guess the bottom line is, it doesn't really matter what device you use. All the data goes back to our servers. The teachers can track it kind of regardless of that. If you're looking at the screen right now, this is actually Sweetwater students. And what you can see is this is our tracking reports for a whole school or district. And what you can see here, if you look under Maria, you see English 1 E1, and she did it in 34 hours to a gold certificate. then English 2, 28 hours, and English 3, 29 hours, and English 4 and English 5. And you can see by the dates that sometimes she was doing a course in a few weeks. Some other learners have done 2 or 3 courses. And what we see is that time on task. A learner who finishes a course very quickly is not struggling much, not having to repeat much, and they're just flying through it. A learner who's struggling, spending a lot more time. We're averaging about 20 to 30 hours on a course, but some learners are spending even more than that, 60 hours on one course because they're just struggling through. So that's what these reports are all about.
And Suzanne, we have a program here, of course, not this program, where on the app, some students cannot complete all the features of the program, but we don't seem to have that problem with Learning Upgrade. So it's very reliable.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. We're reaching the last few minutes of the webinar. So any last minute questions in the chat or last minute thoughts from teachers and students?
I just wanted to say that I believe if we hadn't had other distance learning apps already in place, that this would have been one of our main distance learning apps for on campus. But because our off-campus classes are in need of more materials and resources, I chose to use this program first with our off-site classes to provide them more resources than that our on-site teachers have that they just don't have. If I purchased more licenses and we brought this into our distance learning tools that we use on campus, I'm sure it would just go exorbitantly. But again, I wanted to first allow the off-site teachers to have resources because they're in so much more need of.
Yeah, makes great sense. Okay, well, I think that's must be everyone's questions. I really want to thank again Vinod and Kevin and Mary and Lisa and the 2 students for sharing all of your insight. And I will be there. Vinod's putting it on there. There are the emails. I will also be sharing out the contact information and the recording of this webinar, and that will be free for you to provide to any colleagues that you know. And I know that Mary and Vinod are always open to answering more questions one-on-one and thinking about how you might be able to support your adult learners with this kind of mobile learning. So thank you again, everybody. And that will be the end of this webinar. We will be putting out, we have one every month, so we'll let you know the date of our next one in March. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, as people are signing off, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. Do you have any questions, Mary or Lisa or Kevin or anybody?
Yeah, great job, you guys.
No.
Yeah, you're pros. If you haven't done a webinar before, you wouldn't know. So
lots of great information in all of this, and you guys should consider, and I think whoever it was that suggested the Long Beach thing, that's the California State, I don't even remember exactly what it's called, but we should try to figure out how to get you on there.